We're going to make a wine label using these two images, the toucan bird and the grapes. So what you're going to need to do is cut out the bird, cut out the grapes. I want you to cut out the bird with a vector mask and the pen tool. The grape leaves is up to you. These are high resolution images. If you notice on the grapes, you can see the rulers, and on the bird you can't. That's under view, rulers. I'm going to turn them off for both. Let's see, where is that rulers? It's a toggle. Let me go over here. View, rulers. I want to look under image size. Notice it's almost 300 ppi. That's a high resolution image that's good for print. We're going to also have a third. The only thing you're going to turn in is the wine label ultimately. And I want to see vector masks and paths and smart objects, and we'll get there. Let's see now. I'm going to make a file new. I'm going to call it wine label. And I'm going to change the dimensions. Let's see, to inches. I'm going to make the width 6 inches and the height 4 inches and the resolution 300. So there is my base for my wine label. Now it looks really gigantic, but that's because Photoshop compensates for high resolution because you've got tiny, tiny pixels, lots of pixel depth. That's why it's good for print. If you don't care about printing it, you can do it in display resolution, which is 72. But I don't recommend printing it at that resolution. Now let's see. I'm going to go back to the bird first. I'm going to get my pen tool and start to make a path around the bird. Now I want you to look at the paths panel while I'm doing this. I'm going to right click and make the thumbnails large. And as soon as I click, you're going to see a thumbnail and something that says work path. So the first lesson is going to involve making a path around the bird. Now notice I'm clicking, and I'm not clicking and dragging, so I'm getting completely straight lines. No big deal. The pen tool is great. You can go back and you can change from from linear to curved, or Bezier. It's called a Bezier curve. See, I'm curving now I'm going to include the leaves. I'm just sort of guessing at the wing here, because I'm going to get rid of them another way. I'm going to paint out the leaves in the toucan. I'm going to include the branch because I don't want to deal with separating. Oops, I forgot. Well, I can fix that. See, I forgot to include the tail. So I can fix that. The thing that's really nice about the pen tool is it's completely editable. I know it's awkward at first, but it's completely editable. So here I'm going to curve around here. I have some points I'm going to have to change. I did that on purpose. And you want to go back to where you started, like most this is ultimately a selection tool. If you want marching ants, you have to convert it to marching ants. Okay, see that little circle? I'm at the beginning. So now I have a path. There's 2 arrows that are below the type tool. That's in between the pen tool and the type tool. Path selection tool and direct selection tool. I want the white arrow. See how I can see all of my anchor points. Now, if I'm in the pen tool, I want auto add and delete, because I can hover over a straight line in the path and add an anchor point. For example, I'll add one here. Whenever you add one, it's always curved. Now I want the white arrow because you have to use the white arrow to move it. I can either go over back to my toolbar and get the white arrow, or I can hold down the command key on my keyboard, control key for PC, and pull that little part out. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit better. Let's see. I'm going to go back to my pen tool, and I could use another, see the little plus? Whenever you're near a straight line, there's a little plus. And then I'm going to get the white arrow and move that up. White arrow and move that into place. Edit this a little bit. If I have an anchor point I don't want, if you hover over the anchor point with the pen tool, you'll get a minus, and it'll delete that anchor point. I actually kind of want that anchor point, so I'm going to put that back. You can change a curved and a straight. You can convert them. You use the convert tool. It's like an open arrowhead. All it does is convert back and forth, unless you use a modifier key. But for example, I don't want that to be straight. I want that to be curved. So now I'm going to grab this. Oh, I made it straight. It was curved. Oops. Let's see. Where is one that's straight that I don't want straight? Maybe, is that one straight? Or maybe I'll make that straight. Yeah, see, I made that straight. See how it goes like in a right angle? But I really don't want it straight, so I'm going to curve it. Hold down the command key and move this out. Now what I forgot to do, oops, this time I'm going to go back to my white arrow because it looks like I could make them. You have to remember you can accidentally convert if you're in the convert tool. I forgot to get the tail feathers. So notice how I'm pulling these points down here. Now I'm going to need to add more points. So I'm going to get my pen tool, go back to where the convert tool is showing and get the pen tool. I'm going to add an anchor point there and then pull it in here. Now I want to break the handles because see that curve there? I don't want that there. So I am going to hold down the Option key and drag it. It says it's the convert tool, but it also, now I'm going to get my modifier key, my command key, or if you're not comfortable with the shortcuts, just go into the toolbox and get the tool you want. I need to add a point here. I'm going to drag it down. I'm going to add a point here and drag it up, and so forth and so on until I get my selection the way I want it. That's pretty close, except there's this little white area here. Now look at my path. I want that path to save with this file, so I'm going to save path. And the nice thing about the path tool is if I go in now with the white arrow tool and start moving stuff around, it will update the path. I'll just do something dramatic so you can see. See how it's making the head go up and down? See how it's, oh, let me do something else dramatic. See that? So it will edit. It will update. Now I don't want this in here. All I have to do is put a path within a path. Click, 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 click. And now if you notice, if you look here in our paths, there is that little white area. Before we go on to part 2, here is the toucan bird, and we're going to make a vector mask. I'm going to unlock the bird. I'm going to name it bird. And instead of a layer mask like we've been doing, I'm going to give it a vector mask. Oop, there we go. You hold down the command key, the control key on the PC, and click. And now we have a vector mask. And it's still completely editable, just like a layer mask. Everything's still there. And I'm going to want to remove these in the next lesson, these green leaves. and maybe do a little refining, and then cut out the grapes in the next lesson. So this is the end of part 1.